everyone, and welcome to my channel. It's Jen. In this video we're going to be making more boxes, but these are going to be hanging boxes you can use for decoration or practical purpose, whatever the case may be. These boxes are made out of 1x8s and 1x3 furring strips. So the sides here, the bottom and the sides, are a 1x3 furring strip, and the front and the back are pieces of a 1x8 that I got off the value rack at the hardware store. And I cut these boxes are a couple different sizes, just by a little bit. So they're both 7¼ inches tall, because that's what the measurement of the 1x8 was. But as far as the width of them, the cow one, the dairy farm one, is 8¾ inches wide, and then the Count Your Blessings is like 9½ inches wide. So there's just a little bit of difference. So this first one, I go ahead and I spray with a base coat of brown and orange, and the other one I give a base coat of black, which is this one right here, and I coat them both with an off-white latex paint. This is just like a sample paint I got from the hardware store. But instead of going white, I wanted to do an off-white with these two. So just covering them both with off-white after I give the base coat of spray paint. And then once the paint has dried, I sand them to distress them a little bit to my liking. And then we'll get ready to add the decals. Now I am doing a reverse transfer on this. I'm not doing a tissue paper transfer. So these graphics were printed out on a laser printer in a reverse image, so that when you apply them, they actually, you apply them upside down or backwards, I guess. They will come out looking correctly once you have removed all the paper and so forth. So I'm just trimming the extra paper around my graphics, and I'm going to take some Mod Podge and I'm going to apply the Mod Podge to the ink side of the paper. So what you're essentially doing is you're transferring that ink to your project using the Mod Podge adhesive. So we'll let this dry for 24 hours. It's very important to let it dry. You got to give it time. And then once it's dried for 24 hours, you just remove it with some water and some good old elbow grease. I like to use a toothbrush. It really helps. You can use your fingers, but I have a greater success using the help of this little toothbrush here. So I'm just going to scrub on this for a little bit. This obviously is not real time. It takes probably 5 minutes to remove all that paper. And you just take your time, because if you go too fast or the image gets too dry, you'll actually remove some of the ink, and you don't want to do that. So just take your time, a little bit at a time, and it doesn't take that long. Now some of it, on this graphic here, I lost some of the ink down at the bottom where it says premium. So all I did was I got out an ink pen and I kind of traced over some of those outlines of the P and the R and kind of smudged it with my finger, and usually this works pretty good. This one actually didn't look as good as it usually does. It kind of looked a little sloppy, but I went ahead and went with it because there was nothing I could do about it at this point. But usually that's what I do to fix that problem. You can just go with a black ink pen on the outline of your graphic, and it usually looks fine. Excuse me. So after I remove the paper, I let it dry, and then I give everything a coat of sealer. This is Minwax polyacrylic water-based sealer, and it's matte finish. I actually gave the front of this 2 coats, but other than that, everything just got 1 coat of the sealer. Now we're going to apply the handles, or I guess the hangers, if you will. I did them a little differently. So on this one, I just stuck these little hangers on each side, and then I tied some braided leather cord onto these little brackets and hung it that way. The other one, I actually used an eyelet that you screw in. So I pre-drilled the holes for the eyelets, and which you'll see in just a second. And then once I put the eyelets in, I took some rope and strung it through there. To get the rope to stay on, I went ahead and secured it with a little piece of masking tape first. And then I will actually hide that little piece of masking tape with some jute twine. I use some hot glue. I tie off the jute twine at the bottom towards the eyelet, and then I just wind the twine up the rope until I cover my little overlap piece. And then like I said, I use hot glue. I tie it off and it secures it just fine. And here's the finished product. You can hang them up for decoration. You can use them for practical purposes. You obviously don't have to attach hangers, and you can just use them as plain boxes. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.